right. Hello, everyone. I see some people are still joining, so welcome. Welcome to another DoorLoop webinar. My name is Santiago Marino, and I'm a content creator here at DoorLoop. And our guest today is Mohamed Hussein. He's the founder of Balanced Asset Solutions. And today, he will talk to us about navigating and preparing for audits. I'll be moderating in the chat. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to add them in the chat. That being said, let's get right into it. Mohammed, the floor is yours.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. How we doing today? My name is Mohamed Hussein, and I'll be your host today as we talk through our topic, the boogeyman turning intimidation into confidence, navigating and preparing for audits. A little bit about our agenda here. We'll be talking about balanced asset solutions, audit solutions, common challenges that we see with audit, ways to overcome these challenges, DoorLoop and how that can be leveraged in compliance and accounting, tips for success, and common misconceptions. A little bit about Balanced Asset Solutions. So I am the founder and CEO here at Balanced Asset Solutions. We are a CPA and accounting firm, technology advisory firm that specifically focuses on real estate. We offer a wide range of services to help clients in transforming their business, enabling the use of technology, streamlining the business using technology, and kind of scaling their processes. Some services that we offer include CFO, accounting, and controller services, full monthly accounting cycles, tax advisory, especially when it comes to acquisitions and dispositions, forensic accounting, audit assistance, whether it be for taxes, Department of Real Estate compliance, training and support of the different software products that are in the market. One of the unique things about our model and when it comes to cost is we are a project-based or flat rate-based price versus kind of an hourly type of model. And we do have a wide footprint just within the U.S. We work with companies in over 30 states and have kind of the expertise when it comes to tax and compliance across America. All of our services are tailored fit and custom to each of our clients. We work with clients kind of in a pod as a pod or as a group, where you'll be working with a project manager, a couple of CPAs and accountants, and also an operational executive. Audits can be extremely cumbersome. They can be very frightening as well, and we take the lead in being able to provide full audit representation when clients are going through a Department of Real Estate or even with an IRS type of audit. Additionally, we do offer ongoing services around training and to ensure that there is compliance and kind of oversight. I did talk about this briefly. So once again, one of the unique things about it is just kind of our project-based model and nationwide expertise. So let's go ahead and move on to the meat of our topic today, audit solutions. The Department of Real Estate. There are some tips I'd love to share on how to kind of prevent the audit violations. From our perspective, over 85% of the audits that we have been involved in or worked with our clients is usually an issue that was stemmed from a anonymous tip that was sent to the Department of Real Estate, and usually we see that those tips have come from either a disgruntled or an upset previous owner, or even a current owner you may be working with, or an upset disgruntled tenant or employee. Audits are something that it's not a matter of if it will happen; it's a matter of when. There are certain practices and certain processes you can instill within the organization and regular cycles to ensure that you are always prepared for an audit. One of those things is conducting what's called a regular external audit, where a company like ourselves can come into the actual business and essentially go through the same process that the Department of Real Estate would go through and create kind of a litmus test and get an understanding of where the gaps, potential issues, challenges, and things can rise from a particular audit, and making sure that we have a process to mitigate that coming out of that. Today, when the Department of Real Estate or in general, when you're looking at auditing, one of the biggest kind of focal points is in trust accounting. At the end of the day, if you are a fee manager, you are managing the funds on behalf of an investor or an owner. And it's important that these financials and the information, the data being collected, is managed in a very organized way and in a correct manner, what's called kind of trust accounting, if you will. There are certain particular nuances that you need to kind of keep in mind, things like commingling funds and how you separate out your financials associated with your owners that need to be adherent, or you are at risk at being at failing a particular audit. Some quick tips on how to ensure that you're always ready for an audit. One is a Department of Real Estate compliance checklist. These requirements slightly change year after year. And so it's important that you take the time to educate yourself, especially being the broker that's in charge, and understand kind of what these differences mean and how you can incorporate processes within your internal staff and controls to ensure that there is compliance. Maintaining comprehensive records. I understand that we are all busy in kind of our day-to-day. This is probably one of the things that a lot of folks kind of struggle with, is being able to have consistent and maintain comprehensive records, and also conducting regular trust account reviews. It's important that you have a external or an outside party kind of give a perspective on the compliance associated with this, which is why we suggest kind of seeking expert consultation. Just like if you are having health issues, you go to a doctor and seek professional advice, or you hear a knock on your engine in your car, you go to the mechanic to address that. It's also just as important to seek expert advice when it comes to a consultation, when it comes to the Department of Real Estate audit. The things that they are usually looking for are associated with kind of your process, how you do things internally. And there is a certain level of bias that exists when you're just kind of doing a level of introspection. This is why having kind of that outside perspective, an organization like Balanced Asset Solutions to do that assessment is critical. Some common challenges that we see when it comes to auditing: maintaining comprehensive financial records, staying on top of all transactions from rent collections, maintenance, insurance, property taxes, bank reconciliations. With in the past 2 decades, we've seen kind of an explosion in the prop tech world. Technology, at the end of the day, is a tool. How you use that tool and the effectiveness of that tool is going to be dictated by how by how you're using it and the information that you're entering it into the system. It's not going to maintain itself, and the records are not going to be upkept. Your financials and the information and data being entered is not going to be clean without having kind of proper best practices and having controls internally to ensure that data is correct. Trust accounts. Now, there is this notion of commingling funds or misappropriation of funds. What do we mean by commingling funds? So if I am a property manager, a fee manager, and managing assets for multiple different owners, I can choose or elect to have a separate bank account for each owner or each property. Or for simplicity purposes, I can have one bank account, one trust account, if you will, that manages all the funds and the accounting associated for the entire portfolio. And in some scenarios, we can also even have just a single account that handles both the security deposit as well as the operating funds and activity. Now, either way of how you kind of set this up, it is completely legal and fine. The one caveat is, in the scenario where you have a single bank account or a bank account that shares funds and activity across multiple different owners and properties, it is absolutely important that you properly segment and consistently keep track of the way that the financials and the accounting is kept for each particular owner. Now, this is important because, for example, if I have a bank account that has two different properties and owners, accounting and activity, technically, if one account is in the positive and another, I can make the other one go into a deficit. If I get a vendor invoice or payable or something that needs to be paid off, and technically there's not enough funds that have been allocated for that particular property or owner, although there is another property that shares that same bank account that has the funds that would be able to cover it, I can technically write a check and it won't bounce because those funds are actually in the account. However, that is a violation, and that's probably one of the most common violations that we see, and one of the violations that has kind of the biggest heftiest fines. So it's important to have the right processes in place, and software definitely kind of helps with kind of managing all of that. Some other challenges that we see is kind of time constraints. We are all busy, kind of, and you being a property manager, you have your day-to-day activities, managing operations, ensuring that tenants, your owners, are taken care of, and on top of that, having to ensure that you are compliant, that you have the right business processes in place to ensure that trust accounting is being done correctly. This can be very, very, very overwhelming. And then at the same time, you have consistently changing regulations that force you to ensure and you need to be kind of aware of, on top of all the day-to-day activities that you're doing. Training staff, it is, and the way you work with staff. There are certain activities that require an actual designated broker or an actual agent, a licensed agent, to be able to do. And this is something that is absolutely important, their continuous education to ensure that not only you're compliant, but the work that they're doing for the organization is compliant is absolutely critical. Using software to its fullest potential. As I mentioned earlier, think about software as a tool. At the end of the day, its effectiveness is going to be on your ability to actually properly utilize it. Compliance is not something that a piece of software will guarantee, although the software is there to help you in having oversight and ensuring that you are compliant. The software alone by itself will not ensure that you are compliant. Business impact, many owners and property managers tend to not put as much weight on kind of the importance and also just the impact and the disruption that audits cause a business. That's why it's important to consistently have best practices, clean accounting. It's not a matter of when, or it's a matter of when an audit is going to be happening. Some of these fines and licenses and fees can be very significant to the point where you can get license suspensions. These audits, especially violations, are publicly available records, so there is potential reputational damage here. Any potential or future owner or investor that's looking to potentially do business with you will be doing their due diligence. If you have a record of being audited multiple times in the past and having these violations, those will come up in public records. Additionally, it is this also decreases not only customer trust, it can also erode morale associated with your employees, and can create and breed a level of kind of distrust, internally within the organization. We always like to talk about the psychological impact of audits. Nobody likes to be audited. However, it is something that is necessary for your business. And this is one of the things that we are able to kind of provide to our clients, is ensure that promote the readiness for these owners, as well as your accounting and property management kind of processes to ensure that they are compliant and that you are able to sleep well at night. Overcoming these challenges. There is this notion of being proactive versus reactive. Many folks will not realize kind of the gaps within their processes and the gaps in their compliance adherence until they hit a event like a Department of Real Estate audit. They get that letter, get that heart attack, and start sweating, and it's very nerve-wracking, right? There is a better way of kind of always ensuring that you are proactive, keeping very thorough records, regularly reviewing trust accounts, and more importantly, ensuring that you're using a third party to ensure that things are being done correctly. Simply, trusting that your internal staff. You may have a CFO control. You may have CPAs that are internally that oversee the accounting, but it's very important to get kind of that third party perspective to be able to have kind of that check and that balance. And then just in general, it's just best practices to have very clean financials and always be prepared for an audit. It's not only the Department of Real Estate that will be potentially auditing you, but if there's ever any concerns, mishaps, miscommunication on information that's sent to your owners and your investors, it's important that you're able to kind of go through and explain and corroborate, have the data to back up the information that's being presented to them. Education and training. The Department of Real Estate releases regular requirements. Every state has a different set of requirements, and the understanding and comprehending exactly what these requirements entail and these changes entail sometimes can seem very foreign if you're not used to reading that type of literature. There are training courses that we also offer. There's also public training courses that are available to ensure that you regularly train your staff and you educate yourself on things like updates and whatnot. And a lot of times, if you have a local real estate group, something like a local NARPM or an NNA group that specifically focus on the industry, a lot of these new updates and things of that sort will be shared. The value of an expert consultation. So, navigating the complexities of compliance is extremely, extremely challenging, very nerve-wracking and business disruptive, especially for a small business where you are wearing multiple different hats for managing operations, dealing with tenants and owners. Having an expert consultant, somebody on your side to ensure that they take the responsibility and they're able to take the lead in being able to get through these audits is absolutely important. Today, so DoorLoop, as well as any of these property management and accounting software solutions. DoorLoop is a property management accounting software, and it has features that allow for you to be able to keep detailed tracking of your trust accounts. What do I mean by that? This includes all the tenant activity, move-ins and move-outs, the management fees generation, paying your owners, and also the reporting that comes with it. This tool allows for you to be able to easier manage your tenants, your owners, property level transactions, and is able to kind of streamline your business by keeping track of all this information for you. Now, the organization of this information allows for DoorLoop to be able to help you stay compliant with the requirements and maintain clean accounting by automating accounting transactions and the segmentation of your financials on a per property, per owner basis. Being able to keep track of the details associated with all these financial transactions is important. It is what corroborates the information and the data needed when you're going through these audits, and you're able to kind of generate this information at the click of a button. In general, kind of the role of technology, as I mentioned earlier, is that it's an instrument, it's a tool that can help ensure accounting cleanliness and managing your trust accounts very well. However, the onus is on you at the end of the day as being the owner to ensure that these pieces of technology are being used correctly, but the information that's being entered is also correct and accurate. The old adage is very relevant here, garbage in and garbage out. So ensuring that the data that's entered is correct, being entered correctly, it's being entered in a way that is compliant is absolutely critical. Tips for success: stay organized. Fortunately, we started, during the digital era, and so we are completely, web-based. All of our technology and the information that we have, everything is in the cloud, and this makes it very easy for us to be able to pull information whenever we need it. Using and completely adopting property management software like a DoorLoop and ensuring all the information is in there, and any type of activity, like things like keeping Excel spreadsheets on the side or even sticky notes. These are the things that kind of usually get left behind and usually kind of rear their head at a later time because of missing information. So it's important to properly kind of adopt these solutions and ensuring that you've enabled your staff or internally to be able to fully utilize the product end to end. And so you have one place of truth. Keeping financial records, trust account details, and all the documentation, and staying organized so that it's readily accessible and it can be readily entered into the software will help you kind of stay organized and have one place. Keep updated. So each state has their own state website for the Department of Real Estate, and they do regularly postings like updates and changes and when these new changes will come into effect. It's important for you to kind of stay in the loop. Have a checklist for compliance. This is something that we offer to our clients on a monthly basis, and for the clients that we are doing handling all the accounting, the bookkeeping, and the CFO level service, we do have kind of a regular checklist that we're happy to share, and this has kind of details out all the things about that a Department of Real Estate auditor would look for. How are you handling security deposits? Are they in separate accounts? Returning the tenant security deposit within 21 days, which is usually the requirement in most states, or you have to, they're technically entitled close to 3x their security deposit. It is very important that you do not wait for an audit to discover these issues. It will be a very painful process, and it can get pretty pricey, and you put your license at risk. Ensuring your team understands the importance of compliance is also very important and critical as well, to ensure that they are also contributing to your organizational effort to be compliant. And lastly, kind of seeking expert help. Using an organization like us will help provide you kind of valuable guidance and kind of peace of mind. We know exactly what folks are looking for when you're going through an audit, and we know common mistakes and kind of pitfalls and things associated with misappropriating funds and not following best practices when it comes to trust accounting. Common misconceptions. 1, audits are only about finding faults. A lot of times we see that, audits usually do put a microscope on issues and violations, but quite honestly, audits in general are there, and the primary function is to ensure compliance and kind of best practices. It is at the end of the day, you are managing funds on behalf of other owners, other investors. It's important that there is a level of due diligence and there is a level of process and compliance to ensure that you are not misappropriating, mingling, and also not following kind of best practices. Misconception number 2, only companies with issues get audited. The Department of Real Estate is a public entity. They definitely do not have the capacity to be able to audit every single property management company that is out there. They definitely do their best. However, the organizations that tend to have issues, and usually kind of where, the Department of Real Estate will conduct these audits, is usually in scenarios where they got a tip, an anonymous tip from an owner, a vendor, a tenant, or even a potential prospect. And quite honestly, when they go in those areas, they'll usually also audit a handful of other property management companies in those areas. Audits only affect big companies. Regulatory bodies can and they'll do audits of businesses of all sizes. It doesn't matter if you're managing 10 units. It doesn't matter if you're managing 50,000 units. The concepts and the compliance requirements are not different for a larger company than it is for a smaller company. So this is something that you need to kind of keep in mind and ensure that you're kind of always prepared for. Audits are always negative experiences. The folks that you're working with at the Department of Real Estate or the auditor that was sent to you, they don't necessarily like to deliver bad news. They're not trying to make your lives more difficult. They're trying to, essentially check the box and ensure yes, this company, ABC company, is compliant. Ensuring that you have proper records, are very communicative, open with your communication, and transparent with the auditor you're working with, and also ensuring that you have the right controls in place and the organizational structure to be able to pull whatever information that they need is very important. A lot of times, these auditors will get frustrated if they're not able to get the information that they're asking for in a timely manner. The information that you're providing to the auditor is extremely disorganized, and usually they'll take kind of a tiered approach and kind of going through the process of auditing. They'll do an initial kind of sniff test and ask for very high level information. And then if there is something that does not look right, they'll go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then at that point, they'll be able to discover kind of exactly kind of the root cause of the issues that you're having. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Wonderful topic of auditing and Department of Real Estate compliance. My name is Mohamed Hussein. If you have any questions, would like to get a free consultation with our team, to ensure that you are compliant or would like an external audit review, or even implement software solutions like DoorLoop and ensure that you're compliant and that your team is also fully enabled to be able to fully maximize the technology, you can reach me at mo@balancedassetsolutions.com. Here's our website, www.balancedassetsolutions.com. You're welcome to also reach us on the phone at 619-415-6826. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all have a great day.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mohamed. That was a lot of very useful information. And thank you very much for joining us today. Remember, if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to reach out to Mohamed or add your questions in the chat. Okay? Once again, thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you on the next one.